Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Project Civic SI. Now in the past few episodes, I have gone ahead and knocked out several basic bolt-on modifications to awaken the K20C3 engine under the hood of this car. And today is kind of the final piece of the puzzle as I'm heading to the dyno to get this thing tuned. So, let's jump right into it. Does have a variety of base maps on their Flash Pro software for the best results with any setup, with a variety of different parts, and really on any track car where you spend a lot of time on throttle, off throttle, kind of mid throttle. A custom tune or a dyno tune is definitely kind of the way to go to just get the best results out of the car and hopefully have the best drivability on the racetrack. Now, a few months ago, I reviewed my friend Kevin's K20 swapped hood MRS, and that car was an absolute blast. Now, with that car, that engine did have basic bolt-on upgrades as well, and he had it tuned by a local tuner out here who goes by KV Tuned on Instagram. I'll flash his account right here. He said KV is on the up and up. He's a hardcore guy. He knows Honda's inside and out. And sure enough, if you go to his Instagram, it seems like all he does is Hondas. B Series, H Series, K Series, drag car, street car, track car, whatever. Seems like he has a pretty good handle on it. So I reached out to KV and he was able to squeeze me in today on his dyno. And so I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing, one, how much power this thing is making out of the box, with the off-the-shelf Honda Flash and the Skunk 2 3.5-inch intake, the Skunk 2 Alpha header, and a 3-inch full race exhaust. What is this car doing? It has 120,000 miles on the K20 engine. I did my valve adjustment, my spark plugs, my belt, all that at 100,000 miles, but otherwise it's a stock unopened motor. I'm really curious what this thing is going to do out of the box and what it's going to do when he's done tuning it.
These next few pulls are KV tuning the VTC system on the K20 engine at the different angles you can lock in the different VTC maps.
All right, so looking at the graph, you can see the dotted line and the solid line. Now the dotted line is when the car came in as an off-the-shelf Honda map. This solid line is where we're at now. Now you can see we're basically making the same power. What's the deal with that? Well, the difference is down here in the AFR. This dotted line is how the car came in. It's over 15-to-1 AFR, super lean, very dangerous at load, not safe for a road race car like this thing is. But a leaner mixture, in theory, will make a bit more power. That's exactly what you're seeing here. He's richening it up to about 13-to-1 AFR, which is a nice, safe area for a naturally aspirated engine. And despite that, he's not actually lost any power, and that's because he's really cleaned up the fueling across the map and smoothed out the timing. Now, where we're at right now, the car has 20 degrees of timing advance at it. That's peak timing. Now, he thinks this car should have about 24 to 26 degrees of peak advance on California's Pisswater 91 octane. So the numbers should grow from here. As it stands, we're right around 195 wheel. We should be able to crack right into the low 200s when all is said and done, but we'll see what happens. Guys, and the final numbers are in. KV Tuned was able to pull out 203 wheel horsepower and 154 wheel torque out of this thing. He said his calibration on the Dynapack reads a little bit low, and so depending on the dyno, say Church's, it's a huge tune around here. If you were put this car in Church's dyno, it'd be around 220-ish, maybe 225. And to be frank, it feels it. KV took the off-the-shelf, the nearest matching off-the-shelf Honda map for the intake header exhaust, ran that, and he was able to pick up about 10 wheel horsepower across the board and about 7 wheel torque across the board, while making a much safer tune, because he's able to pull out the excess timing and enrichen the fuel maps as much safer under load. And so, despite safening the tune, due to his wizardry, he's able to pull out more power. And the end result is fantastic, because he not only focused on wide open throttle tuning, but also part throttle tuning. And he worked on tuning the VTC system that controls the cam timing for the intake on this engine. And the effect is a car that just drives really nice. Around town, it feels basically like a stock car, just a lot more punchy. Interestingly, in addition to just picking up more power, is the fact that when you lay into it, the already aggressive induction note from that Skunk 2 intake is even more aggro. I think it has something to do with those VTC tables that he tuned that makes the intake come on that much harder, because this thing sounds brutal with the windows down. Now granted, I'm on the freeway, if I roll the windows down, I'm gonna blow up the mic. But with the windows up, let's just have a little listen. Woo! Metallic. It sounds like a racy Honda should sound. It sounds really exciting. In the interest of full disclosure, KV's dyno tune service cost me $550, which seems to be a comparable going rate in the Los Angeles area. And from where I'm sitting, that's money well spent, because now I know I have a tune that not only makes more power than an off-the-shelf map across the entire power band, but is safer, because KV is a racer. He understands that on a road race car, a track car, or whatever, you're not just doing one pull on the dyno. It's not a glory number. That number that he gave me is that you're doing back-to-back pulls, because on the track, that's what I'm doing. So it's going to make that 203 wheel horsepower across the entire lap, not just down the front straight. And now that this car is tuned, I know it's going to run right on the track. I think it's time to go back to the track and see what all this added juice can really do in terms of lap times. Because from behind the wheel, this thing now feels pretty quick. So I'm very curious how that translates in terms of lap times. Do you guys have any guesses? Is it Buttonwillow in a 125 streets? I'm not sure. It feels like it might finally have the balls to do it, but I guess we're going to have to find out in a future episode. Alright guys, I think that's all I got for this episode. I want to thank Kevin at KV Tuned. He did a fantastic job tuning this car. Hondas are his, bread and butter. He really knows these cars inside and out. He was able to talk me through and explain kind of what the process of tuning these cars, because I really didn't know. I found it quite informative, very interesting. And you guys, thank you very much for watching and subscribing. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Thank you, car, for not blowing up on the dyno. Good job. In any case, guys, my name is Jake. You've been watching Drive, Brake, Fix, Repeat. I'll see you guys next time where I go do more fun things with cars. Bye.